Good evening. I do apologise for the fact that I was not here the last couple of days. I just, got caught up in stuff. You know how life goes. I took Wednesday off to celebrate the fact that we got to end of strip one. And yesterday, I was all kind of rearing to go and kind of all of those kind of things. And about 6 o'clock, it hit me like a wall. I was done. I spent all afternoon fighting with Amazon because apparently the word I need it to be picked up because it's too big is too complicated for all of their lovely answering people who go yes, arrange to be picked up, and then the instructions comes through, please take to drop off point. So that was a thing. And even today, when Lady did finally come to pick it up, that's not what we were expecting. That's not the code up. But they did at least take it away. But right now, I'm 750 quid short and I don't have my thing. So slightly annoyed at that, because normally with Amazon, once it's been picked up, they will refund you your money. They'll also steal the money back if they decide that you've sent back them a pair of socks, not the expensive thing that you sent or whatever. But unfortunately, it was more of a marketplace thing. And of course, it may take up to 30 days. My fat butt. No way does it take 30 days. Because it's funny how they can steal your money in milliseconds, but they can't give it back. So today we are looking at starting strip number 2. Now, I'm in a bit of a quandary because, well, there isn't much to see when starting a strip. I haven't wound any bobbins. In fact, I've done very little other than, as you know, I pricked the card. Woo. Well, I will say that today I have also been busy in obviously sorting out things to go back. I've got my toe. I don't know what's wrong with my toe. But do you remember I had like a real deep blister in my thumb? I think I've got one in my toe. Now, it's really hard to explain. But when I put my toe down, it feels like there's a blister. But of course, it's on the side of your toe you can't really see. So, as we all know, when you look down at your toe from above, you can see your toe. But it's like 1.5 meters away. The closer you get to your toe, i.e. you bring your toe to your face, the more likely you are to have bent your knee out and brought your foot up, which means you're seeing one side of your toe. Well, it's the wrong side of your toe. It's really hard to see the other side of your toe. And so I don't know what's wrong with it because I can't see it. The only thing I can possibly do, is take a photograph of it and then, try and light it and take a photograph of it and then look at the photograph, which, as you know, I am not adverse to doing, but it just makes life complicated. And I just realised I did not fill up my drink. That is going to be a problem. But today we're going to wind on some bobbins. Well, we've got to take all the shit off in last bobbins. But I do believe that, I'm pretty sure, I went to put 4 meters on last time, and I think I decided on 5.5. Well, it looks like we had 2.5 left. So I'm going to go with 5. Now, I know that doesn't really save a lot, but over 84 bobbins, it kind of does. 0.5 meter over 84 bobbins, of course, is 40 meters. So it does actually save quite a bit. I do appreciate that there's no way in hell it actually only used 2.5 meters. I don't believe it used 2.5 meters. So I'm not brave enough to go for 3. Not really brave enough to go for 4. So we're going to go for 5 meters. But it is not going to be the world's most interesting stream today. Although I do have a thing to show you Let me flatten it a little bit. Now, it's not perfect. Only a mother could love it. As I said, it's not perfect. Only a mother could love it. But I found a video on YouTube that was for 2 shuttles. I made this with 1 needle. So I feel really pleased with myself that I managed to, because when you do tattle shutting, when you do shuttle tatting, you use I was going to say different bits, but you don't use different bits. You kind of use different bits. So when you make a loop out of a thread, and you shorten the loop because when you flip it, it eats the loop that you had in your hand, which I really find irritating. Why can't you just make the knots with the one in your hand, right? Bit like you do with needle tatting. Because if you didn't have to flip them, this wouldn't then get different shapes and smaller and bigger and complicated. But when you make a loop, I haven't got one, I've just put them all away. I must have some thread. I'm surrounded by thread. How can I not have? I know it's here. There's one. Hang on. So, here's the end of a fat thread. When you do, ignore the fact that it looks like the dog's chewed on it, because it hasn't, but when you do, you then work with this, but what you do is you end up making the knot with this side, so it gets shorter. So obviously, this end usually goes towards the cone, i.e. normally what would be this end. So this end is round and round your shuttle, and you make a loop, and it's harder to do with this, and then you do your shuttle with this, and you keep eking through what comes from the cone or is on another shuttle. Now of course that's how you get 2 colour work, but once you've done your knot, so let's pretend we've done a knot, so we've done over, under and round. Hang on, let's make a, because you don't need a thing to do it, so you do that. Instead of leaving it like that and then making the other half, you tweak them so that it's now the loop side and that this one can pull freely. And when you make a chain in, you have to use the other end. So instead of using, so let's say it's 2 colours, let's say red and blue. If you were making a loop, you'd make a loop with the blue, and the blue is on the shuttle, and you make a blue loop. When you make a chain, you would use the red one as your basis, because it is going to just the blue travels along, as does the red. Personally, I'd kind of like it if it was more, you always use the other, and that you either joined them or not, a bit more like needle tatting. Because I kind of like how that works, is that it is what it is until you join it together. If you don't join it, it's a chain. If you do join it, it's a ring, right? Now, I didn't pull these particularly tight, and that's one thing that I want to dislike about tatting, is that they all seem to pull them like arse-numbingly tight. So it's like rigid concrete. Not everything has to be rigid concrete, you know. So this was me having a go, and you start with by making a ring, then you make a loop. Well, you make half this kind of pointy bit. You then make this loop, come back down, make a loop, go up, make a loop, come back down, make a loop, come up. But you only join them in pairs. So it kind of makes a square-ish. But it's all done in one piece. And I kind of liked it. Theirs looked a lot prettier than mine. I'm not going to deny that that's the thing. Now, the bit I'm struggling with are the chains, because with birthing it is a thing. So when you make a loop, and all the bobbles, i.e. the kind of knitting look bits, are on the outside. When you make a chain, you're supposed to do it from the other side. Now, I don't understand the principle of that, but it seems to be a unanimous thing, but I don't get it. No one's explained why you do that. I'm sure it's for aesthetics, but when doing it on needle tatting, I found it very difficult to get to the top, make a loop, and come down without it ending up twisted. Hence, these are not that flat. They're also a bit loose. So I do have, just trying to pick it up with one end. I do kind of have another one on the go, which I am pulling tighter. And as you can see, I've kind of got to this stage. At this stage, it's really hard to tell what's what, which is also, I feel, part of the problem. And it's tying itself in a big knot. How does it manage that? Hang on. That needs to go through there, I think. So the only problem with this stuff is 15 miles of string and no control over it. So these are the inner little, are they? Let me think. No, these are the inner little ones, and those are the two big ones. So this one has to come down. So with this one, you use the other thread, this one, the one attached to the ball. So you can't even tell because they're all white, but this one's attached to the needle, look, this one's attached to the ball. So now you'd make a chain, and then make another little ball loop that's attached to this. But because of the way it is, if I make a chain now, I get to the end and I'm supposed to turn it around, and that's fine to make this. But I do struggle with the need to flip it. I don't understand. I mean, it's bad enough with tatting shuttles that you flip the knot, and I don't understand. Now, the other thing I've seen is you actually don't have to, but of course it does complicate things. Well, it doesn't, but it does, if you know what I mean. It means that if you're following someone else's instruction, and my thread's just managed to knot itself up here. Hang on. There we go. If you're following someone's instructions and they don't do that, well then it's much harder to follow because, well, they're doing something different. And when you're a beginner, you have it's questions like this that you have, and no one answers. No one in the world seems to have asked this question. And there's me, and it's like the first one. Why? Why do you flip it? What good does flipping it do? Is it because you choose to have, so for example, can't see it on this, because I don't have one to hand. Actually I might. I've had a bit of a clear up, and you know what happens when you clear up, you know, can't find shit for nothing. So bear with me, as I've got a feeling under here. Yeah. See, I am vaguely awake. When you do this, you'll see, look, you make a chain, you make a chain, you make a chain. You then make a, you make a loop, you make a loop, although this looks a bit screwy. And then you make a chain, and the chain, the bobbles, let me zoom in a little bit, because this, of course, is quite big. So, you make a chain and the bobbles are all on the outside, so that your picots would be on the outside. You then have your chain, and your chain is, you work this, and then you work another one and you join it to that side, and then you work another one, you join it to that side. You then go to the chain, but you do it the other side, so that now the bobbles end up on the right hand side, like that, not the left hand side. You then get to here and you flip them again so the bobbles are on the left and go round. And I don't understand why you flip them. Does it really matter? But as you can see, even with this, I really struggled because they wanted to twist. They don't lie flat. They don't seem to... Because the thread comes out the front, sort of, with a loop, it doesn't feel natural to twist them. And to me, it just makes it complicated. And I don't understand it. And like anything you don't understand, well, you spend all your time thinking about it. Because, well, it doesn't make any sense to you because you don't understand. Anyway, we now have to pull 2.5 meters of thread. See me again. No, that's not really well lined up, is it? Let me have a bit of a reorganisation here so that you can have a bit more of a... Not that you need to see much, but there you go. Let me dollop that down a bit. So this is my thing for my spool of cotton. But we need to pull 2.5 meters of thread off each of these wretched bobbins. Wind 4 meters, 4 to 4.5 meters on, and attach them to the magic mushroom at the top. No, so magic mushroom. The pins, not that you can see the pins. There they are, look, right at the very, very top. So, it's not going to be the most fascinating of days. But as I haven't streamed, and I haven't done this either, but it is part of lace making. Now, part of me says 2.5 meters, if we put 5 meters on, should be enough to make the next one. But we all know what will happen if I do that. So we're not going to do that. We're going to unwind all of this. And we're going to do some batches because, well, problem is I haven't really got anywhere to put the thread that I take off. I was going to coat these with another layer of varnish, wasn't I? Apparently not. So, as I said, I've been very distracted by my toe all day because it doesn't feel like the flesh is attached properly, and it's moving as I move my toe, and my toe is sore. I don't see how I've got a blister on it. It's not lived the most exciting life. I mean, you know, I haven't hiked up any mountains or anything, so it's not like I've been doing anything worthy of a blister. Pootling around the house, mainly. Yeah. I did clean some of the oven today. But on the good news, for those who've been paying attention and that know I've been off, I thought I had to go to work tomorrow. Turns out it's Friday. So, what a shame. So, tomorrow, I will be... Well, it also means that because we do short day Fridays, I only have to do a really short day when I get back, and then I get the weekend off. So, can't say I was disappointed, because that would be a lie. It's not that I don't want to go back to work. I just also know that there'll be an immense pile of poop waiting for me. So not having too long a pile of poop before Well, bitten off again. It's a good thing. So yes, I don't have to get up early tomorrow. I won't be setting my alarm clock. I immediately undid that was for sure. Although it has to be said, Friday I normally go to work for 7, so I'll be a tad earlier than I'm used to getting up, but you know, it's only one day, and then I get 2 off. So what a shame. My dogs have been really needy the last couple of days, which has been slightly irritating, as dogs are. The moment you sit down to do literally anything, there's a dog going at you in the corner, and you're just like, for fuck's sake. I could swear I could sit here for like 6 hours and stare at the wall and they'd have left me alone. The moment I go to actually do something, there's a dog paw. And of course, because Mr. Paws won't let us trim his claws, it hurts. And I know he doesn't mean it, but he still doesn't mean he's not successful in being painful, so I keep giving him the choice, and he keeps saying no to the claw trim, so don't you? What? Sniffing my couch like you pooped on it. Why? Got off. Oh, cheers. Rory, what are you doing? Hi, miss. No, you're not helping. You're not? No. Distinctly not helping. Now, I may be short a ball bearing on one of these, because I found one and I was a bit confused, so we'll find out. As you said, like many things, this is not a speed thing. I mean, pulling the thread off isn't too bad, but putting new thread on it is kind of not a speed sport. Definitely going to need some drink. That's definitely not one of my ones, but I thought I had half a drink, in which case I probably would have got away with it. But the moment you know you haven't got any, of course you're thirsty, so which means yet another walk to the kitchen. I swear all I've done all day is walk to the kitchen. My dog's tried to kill me again. So, you may remember a few months ago, I was puzzled because it was showing my house was using gas, and it was during the warmer months, and so it was unlikely the heating was on. Went in and discovered they'd turned one of the hobs on, and that it was issuing gas into the house, and that, you know, because I can't smell it. Anyway, I thought I could smell something cooking, kind of dismissed it. Assumed it was the dog farting, you know, and that it was more pleasant than normal body excretion. Because sometimes farts can smell less farty, more foody, depending on why you're farting, obviously. Anyway, went into the kitchen and I noticed, and as I literally stepped into the room, so before I even had managed to like focus on the oven, it was that imminent. As I walked past the smoke detector and all, the smoke detector went off, and I'm like, what the actual fuck? Because I'm in the kitchen and it's not full of smoke. No, but they had successfully turned the grill on. For the Americans, that's your toast around then. They turned the grill on with the door shut. So it was heating up like, you know, the sun. Because it does glow very bright red, because of course it was on maximum. So yeah, they were trying to burn the fucking house down. Rich blameless. So yes. Hello. How are you? I'm pulling the... No! Why? Did you fall in the sea? Because my heating ain't kicked in and it's still 20 degrees in my house. What are you cold? Not cold. You ills? Aha! See, I knew I was one shot. Now, where did the tin go? Was it you? It was you. Well done. Well done, Liz, for remembering which tin it was. Now, the glue is over here somewhere. Hang on. Fair enough. Yeah, I know. It's alright. Now, there's another glue stick somewhere. Did I just tidy that shit up? I had a bit of a tidy up, Nautical, on... Well, don't get excited. I had a bit of a tidy up. Ah, there it is. Because this one is not really squirting glue out anymore. It's quite resistant to squirting glue. There is still glue in it, but I've tried poking it with things, and squeezing the glue out is not easy. It's like squeezing cement, frankly. Probably do better to poke a hole in the side of it and then chuck it at the end. It's that hard to get the glue out. I would bite it, but I don't need a mouthful of super glue, you know. I am expecting it to burst at some point because of the amount of pressure I'm having to put on it. It's amazing the wonders that we can call, that we put in our body, and then we wonder why we feel like shit. Alright. I might kiss that tube goodbye. Right. Of course there are ants. No, I did a bit of tidying today in order to get up, which, as you know, is not one of my favourite things to do. But I did do some tidying. Well, I didn't really do tidying, I did some cleaning. So I cleaned the grease-covered tiles behind the hob, because, well, they needed it, frankly. Then I took my oven dishes. Now, cool, well done. So yeah, I then washed all my oven pans that basically were minging, and now it's not, I'm going to use the phrase clean dirt because I know you know what I mean, in that I cleaned them but they were still kind of minging, in the dried, crunchy, you know, kind of baked on kind of stuff. So I have cleaned them all today, and pretty much they all look, I won't say brand new, but some of them do pretty much look brand new. Others look pretty new, so they all look significantly better. And there's less, I mean, considering all I actually cook on them generally are fish cakes, fish fingers, sausages, croquet, potatoes. I know that obviously the sausages part with grease, but it's amazing that they all kind of look more like they've been buried in the garden for a week. Oh look, there's one that I previously emptied. Hurrah, one less to do. So yeah, so I did that. Obviously I returned the thing to Amazon because, well, they're wankers. Once I get refunded, I'll buy it direct from Karcher this time. Because it'll be cheaper, actually. Significantly cheaper, more to the point. I know how that goes. I don't use my grill, but my dog's managed to I've been in this house, what, 6 years? I've never used the grill in it. I just don't. I either stick it in the oven or I stick it in the air fryer, because I've got, I say it's an air fryer, it's not really. I have a thing, it's a bit like an air fryer. And I use it for warming up part-baked bread because, well, it's the perfect size for that. It's pretty much all I use it for, to be fair. But if I was going to do cheese on toast, I'd probably chuck it in my, quote, air fryer thing. Because, well, to be honest, I'd be more likely to stick it in my George Foreman grill thing. It's not a George Foreman one, but Well, the hob, I bought stuff to clean the hob. Haven't quite embraced that yet. Was going to do that and got sidetracked, as I do. Day with a Y in it, you know me. So my sidetrack today was learning how to make a different tatting thing. Because you know how much joy I find in cleaning up. So basically, I'm more likely to perform surgery on myself than clean my house. And yeah, so, but I did do that. But yeah, I've got some stuff. And I might do some tomorrow actually. That's a good idea. I put my bins out today. I remember to do my bins today, which frankly I should get knighted for because I never remember to do my bins. Yeah. It's part of the reason I like my oven tray things. Now they're not oven trays technically. Well, they are for the oven. I need to point that out, but they're not oven trays. So a normal oven tray is like A4 or bigger. It's more like A3. These are brownie tins, so they're about this deep. No, it's not a ninja one, but it's similar, right? It's a tower one for starters. Hello. So yeah, I don't tend to use oven trays because they're too big, because that means I have to use. I've got 2 ovens on my cooker because I have a range master. It came with the house, and so I have a little oven, side oven, and a big oven. And so I bought these brownie tins because they are small. I mean, they could do with being longer because the oven's deeper, but basically they're the right size to go in the side oven. Because why heat the big oven when you only need a little one? So I predominantly live out the little one because, well, I'm a single one. The only time I use the big one is when I'm roasting a chicken because, well, I'm roasting a chicken, and I could probably do that in the little one if I really wanted. But I use the big one for that, and pizzas because they're too round to go in the little one, because it's quite narrow. I mean, it's kind of that sort of size. So, but it's good because you can do, like, if you're doing, let's say, chicken in the big oven, you can put roast potatoes and on a shelf and the roast chicken at the bottom, and you know, have everything in there. But then all the other little bits, so roast parsnips and Yorkshire puddings if you want them, and parsnips, carrots, whatever else, goes on little trays in the other oven, which doesn't need to be the same temperature. So, which I find quite useful. So yeah, but bloody dogs turned the fucking grill on today. That's just, and of course, I just can't believe the timing of it, because I thought I smelt something cooking and knew I hadn't put the oven on, so dismissed it. But it was the fact that the literal millisecond my foot touched the kitchen floor, so I hadn't even, you know, I wasn't even looking at the oven because there's a cupboard, so as I go in there's a cupboard, so I'm here, so the cupboard's basically obscuring the cooker at this point. I mean, it's not for very long obviously, but because it's only a cupboard, and the wretched smoke alarm went off. Wretched animals are trying to kill me again. So I was looking to see if I could find child-proof locks, because that's the second time now. But it seems to be a lot harder than it should be to find. There's lots of locks to stop them opening the door. I don't give a fuck about opening the door. They can open the door all they like. There's nothing in there. What I do care about is gassing me and making the place flammable and turning things like the grill on and trying to burn the house down. So I need one of the dial lock things, but they're really ugly. But I may have to. Wretched animals. Wretched animals. So Dark Lady Sylvanas, you have caught us on possibly the most boring stream ever. As I'm taking off the old thread from the sticks, and I will be adding new thread to the sticks, hopefully. Unless we all get really bored and give up before then, because, well, that could be a thing. So how are you? Please regale us with happy stories. Because once I've emptied all of these, I can dump them back in the box. Cool. Well done. So what are you actually studying? If you're happy to share, obviously. Cool. A worthy profession. At least you weren't gonna say like how to do eyebrow tattoos or something, you know. What have you got degrees in? Fair enough. It's funny you should say that. My mother went back to school when I was 7 to get a teaching qualification, which I think she did, which she never used, by the way. Don't be under the illusion she did something useful. One of my friends at school, so I had 2 really good friends at school. One of my friends did a degree in oceanography and maths. Now, as a general subject, yeah, whatever. Bear in mind she lived in West London, and still does. Not much ocean round there, funnily enough, because west of London's kind of, well, especially where she is there's barely fucking streams where she is, let alone oceans. Anyway, she then went on to do a teaching degree, which she did do for a while. I will give her her dues. She did do teaching for a while. She taught in Thailand, I think, and a couple of other places. She started in Africa and went to Thailand. I'm pretty sure she was in Thailand around the time of the tsunami, so I was a little bit worried for a while. And then she resurfaced as if nothing had happened, so apparently not. She finally went to teach in school, actual lessons. So when she did her teaching abroad, she was teaching English as a foreign language, right? So it wasn't quite the same. Then she got an actual job. It's the only job she's ever had, and bear in mind she's 53, right? She quit within a term because she didn't like it. So So after all those years of teaching, after all of the work that she'd done, she's now back at school. So she's basically never really worked, which I kind of, which don't get me wrong, as someone who can be very stressed at work, hello, I have to go back to work on Friday. I thought it was tomorrow, but it's tomorrow. Yay. But yeah, she's never really worked. And now I constantly teach myself new things. I just don't go to school for it. And I guess that's the difference. I am practical. I love to learn new things. Well, as we all know, I mean, you know, I've taught myself recently how to do tatting. Yes, I've watched videos on YouTube, but unfortunately a video on YouTube can't tell you how you're being a doofus, so you have to work it out for yourself. So, you know, it can show you how someone else does it, doesn't mean it's going to work for you. But I've taught myself how to do needle tatting, and today, in fact, as I was explaining to Nautica, I saw a video on, well, yeah, hang on, let me, there's an artful, I mean, that's a whole new hobby in its own right, frankly, but you'll appreciate this. I mean, bear in mind I haven't got my glasses on, but it's not the most exciting thing, and only a mother could love it, but this is a done in one piece, and I've done it with needle tatting, not shuttle tatting, and this was designed to be a 2 shuttle piece of work. So I feel quite pleased that I converted this to needle tatting all by my lonesome. So I'm not saying it's perfect, because it friggin' isn't, but well, the idea is it's kind of square, so that should you want to join them, you've got diagonals, so they join at the diagonal. Or you can see, you could either join 2 of these to another 2 of these. So let me grab this, hang on, because I did start another one to try and make a slightly better one. So so you could either join it where the 2 big ones go to 2 big ones like that and make more of a checkerboard, or you could join it as you would more normally and make like a little empty square and have the squares. So you've got 2 ways of joining it, which could be quite interesting. But yeah, I was really pleased with myself, because obviously while I've been making my little flowers, so where are my little flowers? There they are. So while I've been making this, and I'm not displeased with this. I mean, you know, it's I feel quite happy with how this is going. I do feel that I needed to branch out a little bit more and do something a little bit more varied, because obviously while there is one flower in there that's only got 5 petals, not 6, bite me, because there is, hang on, thought it was on the edge. Not seeing it off the top of my head, but I know that there is one that I only did 5 for, and it looks silly once you've seen it. Like all things, once you've seen it, you can't unsee it, but off the top of my head, I'm not spotting it, which is a bit weird. I know that feeling. And I was explaining to Nautica, one thing I don't understand about tatting is why you flip to make chains. Surely, it depends on what you want. But everybody flips to make chains. And I don't understand it. I don't see the burning need to flip. To work from the wrong side, or whatever you want to call it. I don't see why. I don't see why that's. It's not like it's not like it's structurally integral. It's. I don't know why they do it, because they all just say turn it over and make your chain, and you're like, okay, but why? Why do you do that? Why is that a thing? It's a bit like when you're tatting with a shuttle. Why do you have to flip all of the stitches? Why can't you just make the stitches with the shuttle in your hand around the one that's on your around the string that's on your hand? Therefore, the string in your hand doesn't get shorter. The one in the shuttle does, which makes more sense because that's the one you're working with. I mean, why is that a thing? Why? Especially as I've seen that you can do it. There's a video I found of someone who said you don't have to flip it and you can do it the other way round. So why does everyone flip it? And then, because of course if you don't flip it, now it doesn't, or it somehow manages to flip back because you've managed to put a bit of tension on it or something, well then the whole thing's buggered. Well, and you have to unpick half of it. So why do we make our lives harder? Why do we not just work around the thread in our hand, and it's the thread in our hand that you pull to make the loop or whatever? Why do we do it so that we make it so we screw up our work if it manages to flip back or doesn't flip properly? And why do we do that to ourselves? Why is this a thing? Who really thought that added complication was absolutely essential? I mean, life's complicated enough, you know? No, it's a bit like when I do my lace stuff and I take the photo at the end and discover like the second stitch I ever made today was wrong, and now it looks and it stands out as if it's from Mars. But until then, it was absolutely invisible. Yeah. It just seems one of those, but we're doing that to ourselves. If we don't need to, why do we do that to ourselves? Why is that a thing? I'd also like to take this opportunity to whine that Etsy, when you send me a thing saying, hey, we've got great picks for you, can you at least make them relevant? Never in the history of ever have I bought jewellery off Etsy and I got a, hey, our top picks for you email. Every single one of them is a piece of jewellery. I don't wear it. What the fuck would I buy it for? I've not even bought some for someone else off it, you know? I bought some weaving stuff, some lace making stuff and some tatting stuff. That's it. Oh, I might have bought a knitting hook for Portuguese knitting. Yeah, it was just full on page of jewellery. I haven't even searched for it. It's not like I looked and went, no, I don't like it. I've never even looked for any on there. Like selling me makeup. Where's my glasses? Hang on. So, this says, Etsy, prepared to be wowed. You'll love this personalised list. Click. Jewellery, 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 jewellery. Never have I looked at such a thing. Today, oh, is that custom? Discover personalised clothing pics. I've never bought clothes off it either. And I bet you they're all freaking ugly. Or shit I wouldn't wear. Hand embroidered wildflower hair cotton scarf. An ugly jacket. Couple shit. I'm not a couple. Kid shit, don't have kids. Father's Day gift. He's dead, so that's. Yeah, you need vodka, dude. You need vodka, not a drink. You need like a one of those horses' troughs of vodka to go and lie down in. I know how you feel. That's the one thing I hate about tatting. And again, if you didn't have to flip each stitch, it'd be so much quicker to unpick because, well, it would. It just would. Yeah. Yeah, it does. I'm laughing because I know you're right. See, that's one of the things, again, I quite like with needle tatting. So if you make a ring and then discover that, shit, shouldn't have done that, you just poke the needle back through it and it all comes undone. This needle tatting looks great. See, this is the only annoying part of this, is look at the waist. I know what you mean. I do know what you mean. It's more like the luck has been on your side rather than you've actually improved. Yeah. Definitely know that feeling. I think that kind of sums up tattle. I keep saying tuttle shatting. Maybe that's more accurate. I do shatting. Yes, I think that's actually quite likely. Most of the things I do make are a little bit shat. Yeah. Tuttle shatting. Fuck's sake. Wish my toe didn't hurt so much. So I do apologise, because this is really not. All I'm doing is yanking string off the bobbin like this. You're not missing out much. And when we wind it on, it won't be on camera either, because that's my winder the other end of the desk, and that's complicated. So, the one thing that is quite noticeable is how wasteful getting the wrong length is. We're nearly done, actually. Only have these to go, so, and then they'll all be empty, and we can start filling them up again, and that's the more interesting bit. I say that, I believe it's the more interesting bit. See, that's the other thing, is that you give it a bit of a pull, and if you pull it just a bit wrong, it all goes to hell in a handbasket and doesn't tell you. It's, again, I think I might try tatting with a shuttle to save myself tatting shuttle again, right? Don't need tatting shuttles. But without flipping it, and see how that goes, because I've got a feeling that that'll be more logical to me, because I'm weird. The speed! I mean, right, I don't know about you, but one of the biggest problems I have is that you go through a little bit and it all seems to be kind of getting into gear, and you're speeding up a bit and it's all going really, really well. Either at the end of that, it doesn't move and you either got to unpick it or chuck it in the bin. Or you're doing really well and then suddenly all that happens is the thread constantly catches on your finger and twists around your finger, and by the time you've sorted that out, you've had to let go of this, and then that doesn't work, and you're in a pickle, and you've just tied yourself in a knot. Now, I do appreciate muscle memory is a thing, and, you know, with practice comes familiarity. It's... Well, yeah, it's the song "The Devil Goes Down to Georgia" and he challenges the violin player. No. He challenged one of these tatting ladies. Because she whooped his ass. I've seen them. But it's the same as the ones where you see the lace maker and she seems to pick a bobbin and go, and out falls lace, and you're going, I know what stitches you're doing. I know what I'm looking for, and I don't see it either. Yeah, hi Mickey Gets Me. Yeah, it's just one of those things, isn't it? It's that now you know why they thought they were fucking witches, right? we understand why they believed in witches and were hanging people, you know, and burning them at the stake. Because they are fucking witches. It's weird. She's weird. The one who holds the world record for knitting sure frickin' is. Holy mother. She does like 200 stitches in a minute. Jesus Christ, lady. I can't even count to 200 in a minute. through that shit. Well, this is true. But as I say, and then they wonder why people thought we were witches. You know, there we are. We've got sticks of some form, right? And we mutter and damn and tut to ourselves, and out comes beautiful things. It's not normal. Let's put all my sticks back in the box so that we can make space up here. Are you glued on now? Yes, you seem fairly good. Excellent. You can go on with everybody else then. Right. Oh, I need to get me a drink because, like I said when I started, I realised Numbnuts here hadn't filled up her glass, and so I don't have anything to drink. And I'd also like for everyone to take a moment while I go get me a drink to peacefully say a prayer for Hefflump, who has gone missing. There's another one in the post. And we don't know where he is. So we believe Hefflump has currently gone to the great Hefflump heaven in the sky. And so we are most upset at the loss of Hefflump. But new Hefflump should hopefully arrive tomorrow. And he will look just like the old Hefflump, only his squeaky will work mysteriously. Let me be right back. Hey Bailey, it's right, Nautica, you can nap if you want. I appreciate the lurkings. So, we have emptied our stick. Now we get to fill them back up again. So, now I have to measure it, which means, where the hell did that tape measure go? I had one moments ago. I did have one. It was around it. But look at all this waste. This is the waste of emptying the bobbins. Now, I know it's not a lot, but it is also quite a lot. It feels quite a lot because, you know, that's quite solid. So yeah. Right. Somewhere around here, there are tape measures, plural. There's one. Ta-da! Right. What I could do is, yeah, if I do that, I can put the tape measure away. Right. I don't get stuck on everything. It's the only problem with thread is it loves to get stuck on absolutely everything. That's 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4. The biggest problem is measuring it out and putting it on a stick, because you can't chop it. Now this time round I'm going to wind them differently. We are going to use the rows as intended and regret our lives. I can't keep an eye on a bit under my arm very well. I was going to count them. Yeah. So the idea is now is that it's at the top. One and a half, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4. Scissors. Stick. It's going to be a long day, but this is the way it goes. This is how you start. And I know it's alright, don't have to worry. Let me pull this forward slightly. Yeah, you can see the pin. I just looped them over the top. So now we need another 4. Half. 1, 2, 3, 2.5. That's not right. I screwed that up. I can't count. It's alright. 1. So half 1. 1.5. 2. 2.5. 3. 3.5. 4. Half. 1. 1.5. 2. 2.5. 3. 3.5. 4. Isn't that always the way? I've done my bins. I've actually done my bins. I know. You don't know quite what to do with yourself, do you? I actually... Snow, Hella's frozen over. Liz actually did her bins. I did too. I did them while it was still light and everything. I'll never do it again. You know that, right? Oh. Hang on. Hang on, Brains. Brains, what the hell? Okay, cool. It's alright. I just had an email that someone's following me on Twitch, but it doesn't show me on my board on here, which is really, really weird because it usually does. So, if... I'm never going to manage to pronounce that one, I do apologise. Nisahi475 is apparently now following me. Have fun. You won't have missed much. My pins. So, half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4. And then we try and play where's the end. Because leastwise thread in lap. Add stick. So yes, this is one of the duller parts of lace making. Though I do think personally, probably watching me prick the card is possibly more boring. But it's touch and go. All my better windings, but there we go. So, half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4. And yes, I am still being slightly generous because, well, what if I miscounted last time and I did 6? It's me whining about how much extra and how wasteful it is, and then I keep doing more just on the off chance. These are the pins we used last time. So we know, oops, sorry, I didn't mean to punch the microphone. One, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4. And I kept hold of the end that time because I thought about it. Good me. My friends, it's so distracting having such a sore toe. Half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, and some extra because I'm paranoid. leap off the table when I try and do this. Half, one and a half, two and a half, three and a half, four. Hello, the bobbining is, well, we're setting up for strip number 2. The bobbining is well, I've emptied them and got a big handful of waste thread, and still of course I'm slightly overloading these because I'm still paranoid that maybe I didn't count the number I thought I did last time. So I don't want to. I seem to be about 2.5 meters left on the bobbin, and I thought I did 4 to 5 meters. I think it was like 5 meters roughly last time. And so I'm doing 4 and a bit. I'll be really pissed if I get to the bottom and it's not enough. Is all I can say. If they all get to the bottom and they're like an inch, and I'm like an inch, you know, I'm like an inch from the bottom and they've all run out, you know. Yep. Oops. Let's come around a little bit. This is strip number 2 because it starts with a little one. So this is the even numbered strips. Hence we are winding in the bobbins to start again, because we finished the last one. Winding the 2.5 meters off the last sticks of all 84 of them, and winding, well, 4 odd meters onto each one. You git. This is the kind of thing that, this is one of the things that I always hate about well, this is one of the things that I really hate about a lot of hobbies, is that whenever there's a video, I won't say it's like a 5-minute craft job, but they may count like they just appear this way, and it doesn't. It takes a while, and it gives a really bad representation. Half, 1 and a half, 2 and a half, 3 and a half, 4. See, I had to fix one of my bobbins too because the ball fell off. No worries. I'm also having one of those days where everything I touch, loads of flat things on a flat surface, and then they all fall off. Actually, EP will surprise you. EP does streaming, by the way. So you can go and watch EP stream. But yes, he has lived in England. It's like there's a guy kind of doing the rounds on Facebook, YouTube, on the shorts circuit at least, because they all seem to be from the same bloody people, who came over here, and he's now decided that a kettle's the right thing. Off. 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4. I've got to hang on to the end. Thread here somewhere. There it is. Yeah, it does seem weird. I mean, I know an awful lot of Americans, you know, heat their water up in the microwave because they don't have kettles. And it just seems really weird to me that you wouldn't have a kettle. True. But even like the hob kettles where you boil the water by sticking the ring on, still better than the microwave. But then I guess an awful lot of Americans probably have coffee makers. 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4. Which probably boil the water a bit like a kettle would. But I use a kettle for so much more than making tea and coffee. Well, I don't drink coffee much, but you know, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4. Well, most Brits have a kettle. Most Brits even have a backup kettle in case their kettle dies. I mean, well, pretty much. Bastard thing. Bastard thing. Yeah. It should be illegal not to own a kettle. Yay! Liz has fixed it. No, I still haven't booked my optician appointment by me. Meant to. But then I got caught up with the whole Amazon returney thing. And well, by the time I think of it, it's too late. At night, you know, they're shut. They don't fall off the table. I also noticed today that my keyboard shelf has got a big crack in it. Half. 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4. So that's something else I've got to fix or buy a new one of. Oh, excuse me. Right, let's do a little bit of this so that, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've now got a stick's worth. So what we need to do is we need to loop those, but we need to do it differently. So what we need is, like this, we need one on top of the other. Can you not tilt? That would be really nice. This table really does love to tilt, but only really in one direction. So, not it will rock, because it doesn't tilt back as easily as it tilts towards this corner. And whatever I do, it always seems to be, I'm just really good at making it annoying. So we want to join you together. What is the... Seriously, I barely put any weight on it. I put my hand, it's kind of almost in the middle. The table is kind of here. So if I put my hand here, you expect it to be okay. But no, it's like I've lent my full body weight on it. Which means I probably need to tighten it. The problem is that I can't really tighten it anymore as it stands. It's really hard to tighten. That's probably a little bit too hard. Right. So, you're on top. Now, go away for a minute, I'm thinking. I know what I did last time, but some of them didn't seem to work very well. You know this is the right answer. So, twist a bunch together, and then it's fall for the edge. Maybe across. Good for you. Yeah, I've never understood why they're just not more common in America. Because they are so efficient at what they do. I was actually going to say, because while we were 240 volts here, not anymore. No, is that right? No, technically we aren't 240 volts here anymore. No, I don't think we're 120, but we're not 240 either, I don't think. I can't remember where I saw that written down. Yeah, I've got a feeling they did less or something. They worked out that it was significantly better somehow at less, so they dropped it a bit. Of course, you've now come undone, you piece of shit. That's just typical. Got a feeling it's something like 220. It's something like that. In that it dropped, but it's not ridiculously out. It's just out a little bit. But it meant that it was it was considerably cheaper to produce or travel or degrade the line or something. I care. But I do remember that it's not 240 anymore. Even though it all still says 240, it's not. If you know what I mean. The only problem with starting out is all your bobbins kind of move. If you so much as breathe on them like this, they move. So it's very difficult to... Need a few laps in them before they get a little bit more stable. If you hear snoring, you're right. That'll be a little brown one. Because, you know, she's just worked so hard. She had a whole postman to bark at. Half, one and a half, two, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4. I saw that. Straight into a big freaking knot. There you go. I knew we'd messed with it. best with it. Half, one and a half, two, two and a half, three, three and a half, four. Yeah, for a 2-hour stream, it doesn't look like we've done very much, does it? Because the answer is arguably we really haven't. But it's not like we didn't do our stuff. And I just saw you pop off the end of there. Oh, stop being annoying. And you. I saw that. Rough nail. Yes. Hang on. I have this, which looks more like a speculum, but I have this. And what you do is you pop bobbin in like this, and then you can wind around her. Which saves a lot of twiddling with your fingers. But it's attached to my desk, so it's kind of over there. But it looks very much like a speculum. One and a half, two, two and a half, three, three and a half, four. And before you ask, I have measured out a distance from one end of my table that this is on to a stick that I've wedged in, and I've wedged that at 1/2 metre. Well, I would be surprised if you personally ever would meet one. They're generally not used on men quite so much, because they go up your hoo-ha. And to be honest, I try and avoid them, so. Because much like colonoscopies, they ain't fun. What? What, little man? You were sleeping. Hmm? Can you hear that? Sleepy puppies. I have sleepy puppies. I do love you, Rory, but you're not helping. No. No, you're not. You are not helping with the bobbling. No. I don't have to work tomorrow. Yay. Which means I only have to work 5 hours on Friday. Yay. Which means more huggies for dogs. Yay. It does. So I'm being willfully persuaded that hugging the dog is a far better thing. Okay. You have a very hot head. You do. You have a very hot head. You okay? I mean, seriously, I could cook. I've eaten food colder than that. I have. These dogs. It's one thing I will say about these dogs is that, I mean, his stomach, the whole of him, is. I eat my food at that temperature, kind of hot, right? But this is not uncommon for them. I mean, they're really short-haired, and part of the reason they're short-haired is because they run hot. But it can be a little bit weird because they can be really hot, and it's like, is there something actually wrong with them? Because they're not always hot. They're mostly hot, but they're not always hot. But his ears, even, are. I drink my tea at that temperature. Yeah, I drink my tea at that temperature. It's kind of. They do feel somewhat hot, but this is normal. They do this all the time, and it is quite worrying. But especially when they want hugs, because maybe then there is something wrong. Now, of course, the two are not mutually exclusive, because they are dog, and there is never too many hugs in a day for a dog. Is there? No. You have flump tomorrow. We'll never find out what you did with the other one. No. Or rather, what she did with the other one. But there'll be another hair flump tomorrow. And then she can run round and be happy because she's got hair flumps. Yes. Well, I saw Gecko. He's over there. You can have Gecko. He's your Gecko. He is. Yes. You picked Gecko. You like Gecko, don't you? Ow! What have you got on your feet? Mean animal. Look like you've stood in a poo. Thanks for that, dog. I can't do bobbing with you there because it'll get all caught up in your feet. Yes. And your nose. It will. It will. He's been a good boy all day. Otherwise I'd tell him to bugger off. He'd been annoying today. He wouldn't get quite so much hug. Let's cool you down a bit. Wet your ears. I'm not licking his ears. I'm not that gross. But I do lick my hand and then wipe them on his ears, which is nearly as bad. But just to help cool you down a little bit. Because it's really not that hot in here. It's about 21 degrees. I can tell this. Alexa, what's the temperature on the downstairs thermostat?
The downstairs thermostat temperature is 19.5 degrees.
There you go, it's 19.5. It's really not that warm in here. I thought it was a bit warmer than that, but it's not. You can always go outside. It's cooler outside. Or is it weathering outside? I don't think it's being weathery outside. Or if it is, it's mild. Because I can't hear it. Anyway, enough. Come on. Oh, go off. Go off and do dog things. Yes, you lie down there. That's a good boy. Right. Half. 1. 1.5. 2. 2.5. 3. 3.5. 4. So yes, this does take a long time, and it is a bit boring for you who are watching. But it's not a lot more fun for me at this end, so at least if we got each other to talk to, it is slightly less boring. I might do some winding of bobbins off stream tomorrow. But I probably won't. I mean, let's be honest. Probably won't. But if I do, you won't really have missed out. So, one thing you can't do is you can't wind a bobbin like this. If I've got thread, hang on, let me move these over. Get a pin, just angle this pair off, and I'll explain what I mean. Yes, you can. Everyone can understand this. It's boring. That's what you need to understand. So, with a bobbin, you can't wind like this because you're adding twist to it. You have to wind like this. Hence, silly device, because it makes it a lot easier to sort it all out, because obviously, did I finish working my way across? I didn't. No, I got sidetracked. Oh my no, I have a sore toe and it's really playing up. So let's see. I got to here. I need a pin. So yeah, you can't just wind it on because it will add twist to it, or untwist it more accurately. It's usually more of what happens to it is that it actually untwists the thread on your bobbins, and obviously you don't really want that because, well, you want it to, because the strength is in the twist, as Nautica will tell you with ropes, that the strength is the twist, and so you know it's quite important that they don't untwist. it is not abnormal. But it is not exactly fascinating for you to watch, and so I do apologise, but it is still part of the process. And I understand that feeling. My back does not like it when I try and do cleaning. Now, I do have some form of degenerative bone disease going on in my spine, which, you know, but while I sit down, I'm generally okay. It's when I'm standing up. And I find that if this is a human being standing up, my back bends. Now, I can't do it because my back bends the other way. But basically, my back kind of has really a bit of a scoliosis thing going on. So my back's a bit like that. But it means that when I lean forward, just even a tiny bit more, so if this, you know, if the top half was like this, if I lean even just this much forward, my back will hurt. So if you're cutting something, even the art of doing this, to put two hands here, moves me slightly forward, makes my back hurt. The tiniest thing makes my back hurt. And it really is frigging annoying, because it doesn't seem to matter how much you want to do. Oh, 1, 1.5, 2, yuck, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4. Yeah, backs are really poorly designed, but then when we were invented, we were not designed to be upright. So, you know, we've only got ourselves to blame on that one. And then if you're female, you've got frontage, which adds to the weight and the strains on your back. And don't I just know it? So, yeah, it is a very poor design. It's definitely something that could have gone a bit better for us, really. They're great when they work, but they do have a habit of not. And being such a essentially important part of us all, it's not like my toe. I mean, my toe really does frigging hurt, but it's not actually stopping me doing anything. If my back hurt this much, I'd be lying in bed and wouldn't be able to do a thing. It generally is quite frustrating when you have back problems. 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5. No. So not only were we not designed to be upright, they certainly weren't designed to be upright for this long. And so is it too surprising? I mean, 53 years of me trying to stand up. Well, mine's obviously gone, screw that. That's enough now. Thanks for that. Yeah. As you say, Bailey, it wasn't designed for this. So, in fairness, we are effectively using and abusing it. Um, is it too surprising then that it gets kind of annoyed? The answer is not really. Yes, we have sympathies there, Mick gets me. Sad part is most humans at some point will have back issues. For that very reason. We will all overdo it, or we will have done something that annoys it. So yes, like all crafters, I cannot do and count quietly. I have to count out loud, otherwise I lose track. So half, one, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4. thread not under tension is not under control, and it has a habit of doing stuff like this. And then you have to spend hours poking at it with pins, trying to unpick it without damaging it and splitting it, which is a lot harder than it sounds. Because of course it's all white, it all looks the same. And I'm not having much luck with this one. Normally I do alright. This one is proving to be significantly awkward. Because considering that no way is in a position to actually be in a knot, so it can only be looped round itself, this is not coming undone. I'm going to have to undo this and chuck this in the bin, which is incredibly annoying. Yep, this is not coming undone. That knot is just permanent. So let's start that again. Let's try that. I'm measuring it all out again. Thanks for that thread. Half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4. Now to do its friend. Half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4. Yes, I'm aware it's for about 4.5 really, but yeah. So, as I say, it's unfortunate that this is not the most riveting portion of lace making, but it is an essential part, for without bobbins with threads on, not a lot happens. But then this is why we do it on camera, so that you can see the whole process and not just the best bits. For if you wish to do this as a hobby, you have to do the shit bits too. It is essential. But it is always disappointing when you look at my clock and it says 2.5 hours, and we've done is emptying the bobbins of their previous content, and we've loaded 22 bobbins. So that's what? 88 meters of thread. Woo! It's a bit more than that, but it's not the point. Half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4. Half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4. And the other half under we don't talk about. 2.5 hours and we've got a handful of bobbins. Woo! So I just wanted to check something with the R strip. Hang on. So I was just checking that these started in the same place. And they do. But here is my pattern for the last one. And it will be the pattern for the 3rd, 5th and 7th ones. So we will be seeing it again. Well, this is the bit that kind of surprises me because, well, as you probably know, I do have a bit of a potty mouth, but I mean, I work in IT, of course I do. But somehow, although I swear, it's not as much as you might think. I mean, you should hear me when I was doing gymnastics and I landed really badly once. It was like 20 minutes of swear words. It's you know, I am more than capable of overly swearing, unnecessarily swearing perhaps. But I won't say I find it calming because, well, that's definitely not a thing. Because that's so not how this works. But I do swear less when I'm on camera. So when I'm crafting by myself, I do swear more. Because, well, I need to. But it is kind of weird how I mean, I think partly because I made these bobbins, I do like them. So I tend not to blame the bobbins directly for their misdemeanors. I mean, don't get me wrong, they do things that are wrong. Such as popping the thread off the top. Because it got mildly looser and suddenly it's all going to come off. But as a whole, I do find I swear less on stream than I would normally, so that's a good thing. But it is. I find it very difficult setting up nearly any of my hobbies. The only one that isn't really hard to set up is spinning. Because, well, the wheel's there, the bobbin's there, you just go for it and out comes yarn. So there isn't really set up if you buy... well, if you either spin in the grease, i.e. you get shorn sheep and you just sit there with a pile of sheep and go for it. Or if you buy combed top, you can just go for it. Or Rolex, you can just go for it. If you have to make the Rolex and you have to wash it all. But to be honest, washing a fleece is much more about putting it in some really, really hot water, letting it soak for a while, scooping all the shite off, getting rid of that water, repeating until it's basically not very skanky water, and then rinse it a few times. So while that takes ages, it's mainly just filling your sink with water and leaving it. Nearly every other hobby, weaving is worse. Weaving is so worse because you spend hours sitting on the floor, winding some string backwards and forwards, counting and making sure you've gone around the right pipe, the post the right way so that, you know, it forms a cross so that you can, you know, count your threads properly and don't get confused. And of course it involves counting. Every crafter knows you're absolutely incapable of counting when it comes to crafting. Even counting 1, 2, 3, 4 is impossible when you need it. When you're trying to thread, exactly, I know that feeling well. I've done the big bright thing. I drunk the clearest thing. I've eaten the green stuff, and I even moved around a bit and sweated. Brain, you need to pull your weight round here. Do the happy stuff now. Yeah. But I don't know what it is about crafting and the inability to count. But there is something about crafting where you're just incapable of counting. When you've got a thread of loom, 1, 2, 3, 4, so that's one thread on shaft one thread. Well, we can. I mean, I swear, I know a lady who does she's got a PhD in mathematics, right? I bet you when she does her crafting, because she does crafting too, she can count either. There is something about crafting and your inability to count. And when you thread a loom, you have shafts, so you have like rows of, they're like groups of threads. It would be like me going, right, so these 4 are all going to be on one, these are going to be on another, this is a third, and that's the 4th. And so you're going to go like 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. You don't ever do this in weaving, by the way. 2, 2, 2, 2. You'd be surprised how wrong you can be when you actually want 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're just repeating that across all the threads that you've got. Just keep going. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're picking one thread from each shaft. Great. And you can fuck that up. You'd be surprised how you can fuck that up. And eloquently and so many times. It's not just once. It's like this inability to do it. And I'm quite lucky because the loom that I generally use now, if I don't need extra shafts on it, I can remove them all. So there's no trace, so I can't accidentally use ones that I'm not using right now. Because on my previous loom, it had 12 shafts, which was great. But there was a time, God help my soul, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, somewhere I did 5 instead of 4. So then I had 1 thread on shaft 5. Now, the problem with weaving looms is that, well, you can only change the one at the end. You can't really change the ones in the middle because the heddles, the loops that hold the threads, well, they don't come off. So the only thing you can do then is to make a temporary one out of thread. So you now have to tie knots and shuffle everything else to make a gap so you can tie the knots. And make an entire heddle yourself. So you have to tie a knot at the bottom. Then you have to tie a knot, because basically there's a small hole, kind of usually, depends, but anywhere between kind of this, the bit between the fleshy bits of my fingers, so not my nails, so that between this and about that. So you want it to kind of match so that one thread doesn't stick out in the middle of your run. And so you have to do 2 knots in the middle and then 1 at the top, obviously, to hold it on, right? But if you screw that up, which, believe me or not, is easily done because you do it on the wrong shaft, you've twisted it, you've put it the wrong side of the other heddle, you can spend ages fixing something like that because you put one thing on the wrong shaft. Yeah, if you do them out of order, so let's say you're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and somehow you do 1, 3, 2, 4, that's not so bad. You pull out the 3 and 2, and then you put them in the right order because you got one of each. Great. It's when you don't have one of each that you have the problem, or a spare one. But you don't really want spares in there, so before you think, oh, you can have like 2 of everything, then you've always got a spare. Yeah, but then they get in the way. You just can't win. It's like foundation chains with crochet or casting on with knitting. You can count that 6 times and get 6 different answers. And it's like, how? How can I end up with 6 different answers? I've either got the right number of stitches or I ain't. Well, actually. And at least with crochet, if you get to the end in your pattern and you discover you got a couple of extra, you can untie the knot at the beginning. Knitting, that doesn't work. You've got to get it right. It's a bit like this. Because I need bobbins per pin across the top, at least with this, you hang the bobbins around it and you can see the ones you haven't done yet because, well, you almost don't have to count them. You just keep going till you've got pairs of pins for every pin, right? But it is very difficult in crafting. The whole prepping. You know, with knitting and crochet, you're supposed to do your test swatch and wash it and block it and then decide if it's the right gauge, and by then you've already forgotten how it felt to knit it or crochet it. So when you come to do the thing, chances are it's a different gauge. You're slightly tenser now because you've wasted a load of time and effort making a test swatch. Or you don't do it and then it ends up the size of a postage stamp, or even worse, parts of it end up like a postage stamp. The rest of it still fits. So, you know, basically it becomes like a crop top because you made it too tight, or it will fit a small child with adult's arms, or worse, it will fit an adult, but now as long as they don't want to put their arms in it, it's crafting is not for the faint of heart. And it's not a cheap hobby either. For everyone who thinks that, you know, it's a cheap hobby, it really isn't. And it's disappointingly not too. I mean, I understand something like this not being cheap because, well, sorry. I understand the output of this not being cheap because, like we've said, it's not a speed sport. But on top of that, it's non-essential. So the fact that it takes really long time, and it is pure flex, really, to have handmade lace, that's fine. But when it's something more essential, like clothes, knitting, blankets, whatever, it is kind of scary. Half. 1. 1.5. 2. 2.5. 3. 3.5. 4. And I mean, I was talking with my colleague, because obviously about glasses and things. I cannot function without glasses. It's not a fashion statement. It is a full-on blind as a bat without scenario. Well then, why is it that my glasses cost more than fashion ones? Surely anyone who wants them for fashion should be being charged to make up for those of us who have no choice. Because, well, we have no choice. We can't. It's like shoes. You can't really function in this world without a pair of shoes. So there should be utterly affordable shoes for the people who haven't got the money. But there never is, because they're, you know, the nearest you can get is a cheap pair of trainers, and they'll all be plastic. Half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4. But yeah, when it comes to crafting, it's not a cheap thing to do. All your gear costs far too much for what it is. I mean, my usual example to that is in weaving you have a warping frame, which is basically a picture frame with broom handle chunks. Yes, madam, that'd be like £120. For 4 bits of 2x4 and a broom handle, which is a £5 down the hardwood shore. Are you kidding me? Nope. They don't even varnish them. It's not even like it's got finish on it, or it's stained, or it's, carved, or it's... No. And why is this bobbin being annoying? Just take your knot. Thank you. Yeah. Everyone seems to know how to charge. Talking of charges, pet insurance. When I first got these two, it was £38 a month for both of them. So, 38 quid all in. The next year came and it was like 90 something quid. And it was like, holy shit. Bear in mind, they were only a year old when year 2 came around, right? Because obviously you pay for them from 0 to 1. So, for the second year it was 90 quid a month. Last year it was £124 a month. Now it's going to be £148 a month. It's the most expensive thing I have is pet insurance. And it's not like they've claimed or anything. Oh, well, the cost of vet stuff's gone up. Yeah. So? Oh, very much. I wouldn't not have it. I just want to bitch about the price of it. Half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4. Yeah, Charlie, bless his little furry face. Yeah, I mean, Charlie, bless his little furry face, did very well on his pet insurance. Because he had 4 or 5 ear operations, 2... Well, Charlie had 2 knee operations. Apparently the knee operations alone. Half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4. That didn't feel right. Let's measure that again. Just because it didn't feel right. half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4. Yeah, I've got a friend who's a bit like that. I can't have my dogs neutered because it changes their fur. Even if she is a proper house cat, the chance of her getting out and coming back fat is... Yeah. Because of course it doesn't have to be a cat who brings the flea home. They'll take human if they can get it. Or rather, they have to. Yeah. But yeah, fleas will. We had an office. Well, I worked in an office where every day Trev would get bitten, and the answer was there were fleas in the carpet. No animals had ever been in, but there were fleas in the carpet. People were bringing them in, and of course, if they can bring them in, they can take them home. Fortunately, we didn't have our pets at the time, but... So I've got another bloody knot. Bloody knot. No, I mean, there are house cats, and some cats thrive on being house cats. Oh, blimey. Yeah, she's definitely not long for this world if she keeps that up. The fucking knot. It doesn't want to come out. I don't really want to have to throw it all away because there's one stupid little knot. I really, really don't. It's probably her struggling to breathe by the sounds of it. She's got to have her head propped up, I would go with struggling to breathe. Without a doubt. Now maybe cats get asthma, I don't know. I'm no expert, but... Or maybe she's just a contender for the cat version of My £600 Life. I mean, pretty much. Sounds fair to me. I mean, there are some toys and stuff you can get, almost like a hamster wheel for cats. 1, 2, 3, 4. But, you know, chances are, by the sounds of it, she would never use it 'cause she's not fit enough. As you say, you're going to have to drag her outside, and, you know, help her build up her stamina before she can even really make it off your property. Can lend you a dog to chase her if it helps. Sorry. Call it motivation and all that. I mean it in the nicest way, but yeah. It's... Sadly, the shot would probably kill her. Which is not what you need, really. Hi, Ma, just killed your cat, you know. Sadly, parents can be very, well, certainly my dad was terrible with his animals. He meant well, he really did, but he killed them with kindness. He overfed them, and he'd get really worked up if they weren't hungry. Now, as we all know, dogs are a bit opportunist. If there's food and you drop it on the floor, they're eating that. They're not hungry, they're just eating that. But it comes to something when the dog is eating so much, it is not going to eat it. And my dad would always get to a point where, it would be, oh, well, this dog hasn't eaten his dinner. Well, he obviously doesn't want it, Dad. Oh, but I'm worried he hasn't eaten enough. Dad, you feed them 3 times a day. If he hasn't eaten at all today, maybe be a bit worried. But if he ate other meals, he is not starving. He is not going to die of starvation. The world will not end. You can rest assured that he's just maybe not that hungry. And it was almost a constant battle, was that my dad was overfeeding his animals. One Christmas, oh, Patch hasn't been eating, oh, he hasn't been eating, oh, he hasn't been eating. So I made Patch some dog stew out of what I had, which was rice and chicken. So I took down some rice and chicken. It was in a bowl about, so at least the height of my fingers and about that wide, but it was a bit more of an angle, so it was kind of that size. And it was heaped. And I thought, I'll make a big batch so that Dad can feed him it over the next next week or something, right? As long as he keeps it in the fridge. He fed him it in one day and was still whining that the dog wasn't eating. I couldn't eat that much! And I'm a pig! He was... Needless to say, I played my part. The dog died 2 days later. Its stomach exploded. Well, it didn't. Its stomach did blow, because he was still ramming food in it. The dog died of an exploding stomach. Yeah. And it's really hard to be sympathetic because he's just lost his prize pooch and all the rest of it. But, Dad, you've just fed it like 4 kilos of rice and chicken. And dog food. And other food. Yeah. And all my... Funnily enough, my dad's dogs never generally lived beyond 10 years old. And I've got a friend, her dogs never seem to make double digits. My dogs, I'm disappointed if they're not 17, 18. They have always made it to a ripe old age. Fuck, Brown was somewhere around about 20. I do nothing special. I feed them. And, I chase them around a bit. And, But if they're not hungry, they're not hungry. Mm-hmm. We all have days where you could eat the entire cupboard. And we all have days where you kind of go... Now, admittedly, I don't suffer from so many of the moments, but there are days when I've had like half a sandwich and that's it. I am hungry, I just can't be asked to do anything about it. But I've also had days where I swear I could eat the whole of the food aisle at the store. Any food I'll pick one except for the vegetables. Fuck vegetables. But especially the cake aisle. I could eat the whole damn thing. And the ice cream aisle. In one sitting. Probably could do all the chocolate and all. Probably take 2 sittings to add the chocolate to it. But I could eat my body weight and more in cake. Absolutely. I have a weakness for cake. But it is one of those things is that, yeah, we all have days where, 3 large pizzas and you're kind of, what's for tea? You've just eaten, yeah, but, 14-inch pizzas or whatever. You've just eaten 3 of them. Mum, what's for tea? You've just fucking eaten. I remember the look on my mother's face as a child. Now, I can be a bit forgetful, and at the moment I've noticed I am being very forgetful. I am forgetting things, the name of things, and I am being very forgetful. It's a little bit alarming. But, as a child, hey Mum, what's for tea? Well, I have the same problem. As a kid, I was 5'4" and 3.5 stone, which is ridiculously underweight, and I was eating 6 meals a day. It just disappeared off me. Now I only have to think of a meal and I've gained 3 pounds, which is a little bit irritating because I'm always hungry. But you do find yourself that, it was, but as a child, I just never forgotten the Mum, what's for tea? And my dad laughing at me and my mother's look, and it was kind of like, what? You've just eaten. Did I? Okay, I'm hungry though. Sorry, but I'm hungry, And I've done it. I've cooked myself dinner, and then, almost before I barely put my arse cheek, I've gone and put it all in the kitchen, and put the washing into soak, and before I've even got back down to the couch, I'm hungry. But I've also had days where half a sandwich, and yeah, I am hungry, but I can't be bothered. So I'm sure animals get it too. They have days where, yeah, whatever. They must do. They really must. Well, I don't know about you lot, but I feel we've done a reasonable effort here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm guessing that's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There you go, 2 sticks worth. So we've done a third of our sticks. Bit worrying, isn't it? How can that be a third? Whatever. Looks like it should be more than a third. But never mind. So let's strap these down. Oh, steroids are terrible. Yeah, steroids can be really bad. And moreover, you do pack on the pounds. It's not like you're really hungry and you don't. You are really hungry and you do. And it's the quickest way to turn into a tub. If you're not well and they've made you have steroids, it can be the quickest way to get really, really fat. Because if you're not well enough to burn it off, you can eat 3 to 4 times your requirement and get really chubby really quickly. Which of course is why bodybuilders do steroids, because it helps them pack on the pounds. But they're of course burning it into muscle. Most of us, when ill and on steroids, are turning it into fat. And of course, that is not ideal. Well, as I said, I'm sorry that this has not been the most entertaining stream of the year. And, well, clearly we've got more to do. Hang on, let me preview message. There you go. Yeah, I think, to be honest, I mean, that was part of my problem as a kid. I used to be a gymnast, so I was used to doing a very large amount of exercise. And I was strong, I had a lot of muscle, and I was constantly on the move. Um, Once I got to be an adult and had leukemia and everything, and just kind of sat in a bed for 6 months with leukemia, I was still as hungry as I was, but I didn't get to do anything. And I'm still hungry, like I'm doing gymnastics, except I'm not. Therefore, it's very easy for me to put on weight. I only have, as I say, I'm constantly hungry. Anyway, apparently we've done a third. It looks more than the third to me, but can't be because there's 14 there, and there's 3 per side, so there's 7 more to the middle, and then 3 to the end. So, but we will be back tomorrow. It's Thursday, and it will have to be a fairly early end because I've got to go to bed early on Thursday if I'm getting up early. But thank you all very much for joining me. It's been a pleasure to have you. Yeah, indeed. Have a good evening, everybody else. It's been nice to see you. I've noticed that the numbers were a little bit bigger today, but so bye bye, everybody, and hopefully I shall see you tomorrow. Bye bye. You're going to the fair and you're not going to come and see me? Mick gets me. How could you? I'm just so hurt. Enjoy the fair. We want to see what you see. We want to hear all about it, of course, though. Take care. By the way, you can always do X Smash Smart Discord and tell us all about your lives outside. Take care. Bye bye.